You're still here? The season's over. Go home. Go home. Poorly timed Ferris Bueller jokes aside, just because the NHL season is over and the Florida Panthers have captured the Stanley Cup, leaving us with no more games left to cover, that does not mean that there's no more hockey to talk about. My name is Liam, my friends call me Hammer, and join me as I take a look at what's to come as the summer and the NHL offseason begins. And I apologize for the state of my voice. I'm getting over a bit of a cold, so bear with me here. So yes, as I just mentioned, last week on June 17th, the Florida Panthers captured their second Stanley Cup in a row as they defeated the Edmonton Oilers in the finals. We're here just under a week later with a whole bunch of hockey news flying back and forth. Who knows what's real? Who knows what's fake? What we do know is real is that next weekend, June 28th and 29th, is the NHL Entry Draft. That's going to be coming to us from Los Angeles, California, and it will be the NHL's first ever decentralized draft. And you might be asking yourself, Hammer, what is a decentralized draft? Well, I'll tell you. A decentralized draft is basically what the NFL and the NBA, and I assume the MLB as well, have been doing for as long as I can remember. Basically, the players that are going to be drafted, the kids that are on their way to the NHL, and their families will be there present in Los Angeles at the event space, along with league representatives, including our old buddy Jerry Bettman. And then, unlike in the past, where general managers, coaches, presidents have been set up at tables on the draft floor, as we call it, kind of like you see right here, those guys will all be back in their home offices, whether that be at their practice facility, their main arena. They will be in their cities calling in their picks, and then it will be Bettman welcoming the prospects to the stage, giving them their jersey, shaking their hand, announcing those picks. That's how it's going to go down on Saturday night, at least, and then Sunday will continue pretty much as normal. You'll watch the panelists on whatever channel you're seeing, probably live at the draft, and they'll be announcing the picks for rounds 2 to 7. It's just round 1 that's happening on Saturday. That's not changing. And with the draft comes a brand new crop of talent about to enter the NHL, led this year by Matthew Schaefer of the Erie Otters in the OHL. If you look at almost any draft ranking list out there, I mean, in front of me, I've got TSN's list, courtesy of Bob McKenzie. It's up on eliteprospects.com if you want to go take a look at it. I'll leave a link in the description. He's got Matthew Schaefer at number 1. Pretty much everybody has Matthew Schaefer at number 1. 2 through to 10 is some variety of everything, but Schaefer, most people have going first overall this year. And the first overall pick this year belongs to the New York Islanders as a result of the NHL Draft Lottery. Now, I did hear somewhere, probably I read it on Twitter, and I don't recall the source, so forgive me, that the Islanders may be not interested in trading that first overall pick, but could be convinced to trade that first overall pick. Am I saying that's going to happen? Absolutely not. Like I said, I don't remember who said it, so I can't speak to the validity or reputation of who was reporting it. It could have just been a speculation piece, but there is conversation out there that, at the very least, the Islanders may be persuaded to trade that pick. Me personally, I don't think the Islanders are going to deal that pick. I think Schaefer could fit very well into the new system that they're trying to not rebuild, but sort of retool as it's a brand new era of Islanders hockey as they move away from general manager Lou Lamoriello. And then less than 48 hours after the entry draft ends, happy Canada Day, it's July 1st, and it's NHL Free Agency Day. Players on expiring deals will see those deals expire, and they can go sign with whomever they like, for how much they like, and however long they like. And there's a fair amount of big names coming up this year. Mitch Marner is the one that I think everybody's focused on. I know me personally, as a Leafs fan, I'm very interested to see where he ends up because all signs are pointing to him not returning to Toronto. And while I'm on the subject of the Leafs, John Tavares is up as well. It looks like he wants to stay in Toronto. It looks like Toronto wants to keep him, but they may be further apart than it seems. And the last Leaf that I'm going to mention, Matthew Knies is a restricted free agent. I think the Leafs are definitely going to do whatever they can to keep him, but there's been no real news as to how that negotiation is going down. But there's a whole bunch of players all across the league that are going to be able to sign contracts with brand new teams and potentially change the landscape of the league. If you go down south to Florida to the reigning defending champions, Aaron Ekblad is up, Brad Marchand, Conn Smythe winner Sam Bennett, all of them will be looking to ink new deals. And I don't think, as much as they say they're going to and as much as they'd like to try, I don't think Florida's going to be able to hang on to all of them. I think Florida will definitely do whatever they can to keep Sam Bennett, and maybe Aaron Ekblad takes some sort of discount to try and run it back with the team. But once they pay those two, I don't think they're going to have the space to take on Brad Marchand, not at what it's being reported he wants. And what is being reported he wants is coming in from Elliot Friedman. He could be asking in the ballpark of a $24 million contract. However many years you want to break that down into would probably be up to the individual team offering the contract, but Marchand wants 24 mil for however many years. Probably for a fair amount of term, as whatever deal he signs next could very well be his last as he's getting up there in years. Speaking of term, you're going to see a lot of free agents sign probably in the ballpark of 2 to 3 years, not too long, some maybe even one, but you're going to see shorter deals as the salary cap is expected to grow exponentially over the next few years. Just as an example, going back to Mitch Marner for a second, this is coming from Pierre LeBrun of The Athletic. This was an article he put out this morning talking a little bit about what Mitch Marner's potential deal could look like wherever he ends up. He said, and I quote, "One option Mitch Marner is considering is a 2-year deal at around $12 million to $13 million per year, positioning him to hit the market again when the salary cap skyrockets to $113 million or higher in a couple of years." And the salary cap going up is all determined by league profits and is all dealt with under the CBA, the collective bargaining agreement between the National Hockey League and the National Hockey League Players Association, the NHLPA. And you've probably heard the term CBA come up a fair amount in the hockey news last few days and weeks because they're working on a new collective bargaining agreement. That's right, the Players Association and the league are at the negotiation table. It's not just teams and players that are having talks. The league and the Players Association are having talks about what the new CBA is going to look like. If you're unfamiliar with the collective bargaining agreement, that decides basically how the league operates. It deals with everything from on-ice rules to salary cap restrictions to the amount of days a week that players are required to be on the ice, whether that's for games or practices. And one important note coming out of these CBA negotiations that I personally found very interesting was talking about salary cap in the playoffs. We've heard complaints over the last few years, especially when it comes to the Vegas Golden Knights and the Florida Panthers making consecutive deep runs in the Stanley Cup playoffs, about their playoff roster being well over the salary cap. And every team is guilty of it to some degree, but you don't necessarily see the league crack down on it as much. Although the league is investigating the Edmonton Oilers over some use of Evander Kane's LTIR, that's a whole other thing. I can get into that in a later date in a separate video. If you'd like to see that, let me know in the comments below. But anyway, we have a radio station here in Ontario, Sportsnet, the Fan 590. And Elliot Friedman, one of the best, if not the best, insiders in the game, went on there earlier this week and was talking about some things he had heard of regarding the salary cap in the new CBA, and here's what he had to say. In the new CBA, they may make it so your playoff lineup that goes on the ice must be cap compliant. You can have whatever you want on your roster, but your actual lineup must be under the cap. And to be honest, I don't hate that. If you're not fully understanding what Elliot's saying there, basically, throughout the regular season, for all 82 games, you must be cap compliant. So next season, the 25-26 NHL season, the salary cap is projected to be $95.5 million. That's a raise of $7.5 million from this past season, which was at 88. That's a pretty big jump, but basically, throughout those 82 games, throughout the regular season, your roster cannot exceed that $95.5 million. What that will mean under the new CBA is that in the playoffs, the guys on your NHL roster under NHL contracts can exceed that $95.5 million, but the 18 skaters and 2 goaltenders that you dress for a game cannot exceed the salary cap. So if you've got a team that's worth 110, you can only dress 95. 15 million of that has to sit up in the press box. You can mix and match the players however you like, doesn't matter. It's just got to be equal to or less than 95 million. And I think that's a relatively good workaround. A much simpler option would just be initiating a playoff salary cap, leaving it the same as the regular season or a couple million more than the regular season. But this is a good middle ground, I think, between what the NHL wants and what the Players Association thinks is fair. And that's just a report about something that was thrown out at the CBA meeting. That's not guaranteed to happen. I certainly hope it does, but all of that could change by the time the CBA is ratified and signed by both parties. And then that's pretty much it. Right now we're in this massive news cycle where the Florida Panthers have just won, and we're hearing about all the partying that they're doing, and oh, this draft prospect, he's doing really well at interviews, he's shooting up people's lists, and this free agent, he's expected to get this, or he had a meeting with this team and it didn't go so well. We're hearing everything right now. And we're probably going to hear everything for the next probably week, 2 weeks, maybe even 3 weeks. July 1st is going to hit and we're going to hear about every signing under the sun. And for the days after that, you're going to hear about third and fourth liners and veteran players picking up deals. But as July goes on and July turns into August, we're going to start to see a lull in hockey news. But that doesn't mean you're going to see a lull in hockey content. I, Hammer Hockey, do solemnly swear that this channel will continue to pump out good hockey content for all you lovely hockey fans out there as the summer progresses. Just because there's no new hockey stuff to talk about doesn't mean we can't find some old hockey to talk about. I have a jersey ranking that I have a jersey ranking video in the works. I've got a couple of reviews I'm writing for some of my favorite hockey movies. Basically, what I'm trying to say is just because no more games left to play, the draft is going to come and go, free agency is going to come and go, that doesn't mean you're not going to still hear about hockey, at least from me. So subscribe here to Hammer Hockey and turn on post notifications so you don't miss a single thing that comes out as you're starving for hockey content later this summer. And while you're down there, why not leave a like on this video and leave a comment of something you'd like to see me talk about as we reach this dry spell of the hockey calendar. Anyways, that's going to do it for this one. I'll see you next time.